Okay, so you can go on to the next slide. I'll start where I'll end, which is what I'm doing now as a part of the NIST MEP, which stands for Manufacturing Extension Partnership Network. Our nonprofit organization is part of a national network of organizations that reach out into our communities and help small and mid-sized manufacturers find the resources, help, training, consulting that they need to develop and grow and thrive all across our state of Washington. We've been around for 27 years, doing this a long time. We are partially funded by the federal government. We also offer paid services and find funding through other sources. We measure results in the things that we do, which is, are some of the statistics that you can see there. So our goal is to help those companies develop their businesses into great places to work. And we believe by doing that, and you can see this in the results, that we benefit as communities, as a nation and a world because of the positive outputs that this creates. I want to start and share a little bit about my personal story about where I started and how I came to think about manufacturing as a community, because I've always been passionate about community ideals. And, even as a young person, you can see me here, I was very curious and thought about such things, but I really had no idea about what manufacturing was, or what it could be, and really what it meant for, in terms of community or humankind. And I grew up in a rural place here in the Pacific Northwest on an island on a small farm. So you can see me there on my horse, and I raised cattle, and that's partially how I paid for my college education. But it was through activities and things like those that you're doing as the Subortus Project that tugged me in certain directions. So this is an example. I participated in the National Bridge Building Contest, which some of you may be familiar with. And it was through that I decided to enter school as an engineer. So I went off to school. The first company that I worked for out of undergraduate engineering was a small startup called Isothermal Systems Research. And we were a small team with a big title, making innovative spray cooling technology for high power electronics. And this was my first introduction to business, basically. Really, up until that point, I hadn't thought a whole lot about what an organization was. I really was focused on, well, I need to figure out what I want to do as a person. And it was through this first experience of thinking about the work I was doing in terms of the organization and how small we were and how big and lofty our goals were for this new technology and the impact that it would have out there in the world, that I started to puzzle through, well, how do you get from this small team, all of us wearing many hats, to a larger, well-functioning organization that actually manufactured and made these products? And so fast forward a bit, I'll skip over some stuff. I ended up partway through my career going back and getting a master's degree in education because I wanted to understand more about organizational learning and organizational psychology, although I didn't know that was a word at the time either, because I I cared about pulling all those pieces of the project together, not only the exciting part about the technology. So after that, I joined a company called Meter Group in Eastern Washington. And I spent 12 years with this company, and it's a high-tech company that manufactures scientific instrumentation. And the wonderful thing about working for Meter Group was we had on staff the best and brightest scientists from, for developing that specific technology, the design teams, the machine shops. We had our own SMT line, which is the surface mount technology, manufacturing production for the circuit boards and all of the components. So we're very vertically integrated. And it was through that experience where we were delivering instruments to the food and all the major food industries to help keep food products safe. That's the picture on the left. NASA reached out to us about developing a probe for the Phoenix lander. We deployed 20,000 weather monitoring stations in Africa as part of a project called TAMO to get better weather data to support agricultural practices there. We had a project in Fukushima after the disaster there. And the picture on the right is here in our backyard in Eastern Washington. And so through that experience, I kind of built from thinking about the organization to who are we serving, not only internally in this great work with this organization, but the customers that we serve. And that's where I started to really expand my concept of what it meant to be part of this manufacturing enterprise very globally. So most recently, my husband and I decided we wanted to return to the Pacific Northwest to be near family, and I joined a project with a company called Eviation to get this aircraft that you can see here to first flight. From a distance, it looks like a typical commuter 9-passenger aircraft, but this aircraft is powered exclusively by battery. So it's all electric. It was with this team that we actually flew an aircraft of this category for the first time in 2022. The reason I shared that word values at this point is thinking about customer, thinking about global impact. It over time, you can see that it rolled up to really also being about what we value in our work, whether that is internally in the work that we're doing with our teams and the opportunities that exist there in these amazing manufacturing environments to better those places, and also to have a real impact on the world, like here. I don't actually like airplanes. I loved being a part of this effort because it was part of something bigger to change, how we decarbonize, very hard to decarbonize sectors of transportation. So joining last summer Impact Washington, this is really a joy for me being able to now work at the community level. So you can see over the entirety of my career, I more and more thought of this work in manufacturing as a community endeavor. And found in, thinking back, recognized how much I would and did appreciate making those connections from the point of manufacturing. And so now it's a a delight every day to be out working with manufacturers in the community, to connect them with resources and people to take those next steps. Just to give you a sense of some of the consulting and training that we do, some of these pictures on the side just kind of, I just picked a few to give you a sense that in the lower right, we work with very small manufacturers. This one makes dog equipment for dog playgrounds and dog parks, all the way up to the one above, which, those are massive pieces of metal that go into very large ships and sea vessels, to a shellfish company or a brewer. We work on workforce solutions, so how to find and train and make those workplaces better for people to work, and to make it easier for them to settle into new positions, as well as define pathways for them to grow and develop inside the business. Growth and innovation, we work a lot with deploying new technologies and business systems, from the computer systems that run the business to robots and automation, as well as operational excellence. So helping them develop those lean processes and find efficiencies so that they can build their business and stay within budget. So that's where I'll end. It starts from a personal journey, but it for me has connected to the larger one. And so I know that, back when I didn't understand what manufacturing was, I would have loved to have connected with something like the Subortus Project to know more earlier, instead of it being just good luck that I stumbled into this wonderful career path. So thank you.